So when I say smart building, what comes to mind? You're probably picturing, I don't know, some automated lights, maybe a clever thermostat, but the reality is so much bigger, so much more revolutionary than that. We're not just automating buildings anymore, we're actually giving them a brain.
Think about it. We walk into offices, factories, hospitals every single day, and we see them as just these inanimate shells, right? Just concrete and steel. But what if those structures could actually sense and think and adapt in real time? What if they were alive?
This right here, this is the core idea that changes absolutely everything. A building is no longer just some line item on a balance sheet.
Instead, you have to start thinking of it as a dynamic, responsive environment, one that literally breathes and learns and optimizes itself. And that one shift in perspective, that's what's powering this whole smart building revolution.
Okay, so the living ecosystem. Why is this shift so critical? I mean, why do our buildings even need a brain? Well, let's start by looking at how our current, kind of dumb buildings are really holding us back.
The old way is purely reactive, right? The air conditioner breaks, then you call someone to fix it. Energy just gets wasted because the system isn't smart enough to adapt to who's actually in the building. And all of this leads to sky-high costs and a massive carbon footprint. The new way, the smart way, it just flips that whole script. It's proactive, it's efficient, and it's sustainable. So how do we make that happen? Well, it's all thanks to an AI-driven building management system, or BMS. You can think of a traditional BMS as just a simple control panel for your heat and your lights. But an AI-driven one? Whoa, that's something different. It's the building's central nervous system. It's the actual brain that makes this whole living ecosystem thing possible.
Okay, so let's get into it. The building's intelligent brain. What are the actual components of this brain? What gives it the power to think?
It really comes down to 4 core features that make this all work. First, it has a hybrid infrastructure, which means you can install it in brand new buildings or ones that are 100 years old. Second, and this is a huge deal we're going to talk about in a sec, it's hardware independent. Third, it's got that AI-driven intelligence right at its core. And finally, it's a complete end-to-end ecosystem, covering everything from the tiniest sensor all the way to the dashboard on your screen.
Let's just double-click on that hardware-independent piece for a moment, because this is a really big deal. In the past, if you bought a management system, you were locked into that specific brand's hardware, forever. This new approach, it shatters that lock-in. The brand can connect to equipment you probably already own, from huge players like Siemens or Honeywell. For building owners, that freedom is an absolute game changer.
Okay, so we know what it is, but how does it actually work? How does a building process all this information and think? Let's deconstruct the magic. It all happens in 4 pretty logical layers. It kicks off at the device layer, where all the sensors act like the building's eyes and ears, just collecting tons of raw data. Next up, the gateway layer gathers all that messy, diverse data and unifies it into one language. From there, it shoots up to the AI and analytics layer in the cloud, and this is where the real thinking happens. And finally, the application layer delivers all those brilliant insights right to a person through a simple dashboard or an app on their phone.
And here, you can see that entire flow in action. You've got the sensors on the left, feeding data into the gateway, which then sends it all up to that cloud brain. That brain does its thing and then pushes out intelligent alarms, dashboard updates, and notifications over on the right. It's just this continuous, beautiful loop of sensing, thinking, and acting. Which brings us to probably the most important question. A brain is only as useful as the tasks it can perform. So what jobs is the AI actually doing with all this information?
First up, predictive maintenance. So instead of waiting for the HVAC system to die on the hottest day of the year, the AI learns its normal behavior. It can then actually forecast a potential failure weeks in advance, so you can fix it before it breaks. I mean, that saves a massive amount of time and money. Second, there's energy forecasting. The AI is constantly analyzing past usage. It's looking at weather forecasts, building occupancy, all to predict exactly how much energy is going to be needed. It then optimizes everything to meet that demand perfectly, which eliminates waste and can dramatically lower those utility bills.
And third, we've got anomaly detection. You can kind of think of this as the AI's immune system. It's constantly scanning all the data, just looking for anything that seems out of the ordinary. A weird vibration in a motor, a tiny dip in water pressure. It flags these little issues before they have a chance to escalate into catastrophic failures.
So we've seen how it all works, but what's the actual payoff? Let's look at the tangible results this technology delivers, in real, hard numbers. Get this, 70%. That's a staggering number.
By using a mix of wired and wireless tech, the system can slash the need for physical cabling by up to 70%. And that translates directly into faster, cheaper installations with a much, much smaller carbon footprint.
50% lower downtime. This connects right back to that predictive maintenance we were just talking about. When you can catch problems before they happen, you keep all your critical systems online and running smoothly.
And here's the number that really impacts both the bottom line and the planet. 30 to 50% energy savings. That's a direct result of the AI constantly optimizing and forecasting, making sure that not a single kilowatt ever goes to waste.
So ultimately, what this technology delivers is this incredible two-for-one punch. It achieves the huge business goal of digital transformation by making your operations way smarter. And at the exact same time, it helps you meet those critical ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance goals, by making buildings sustainable and responsible.
So let's just zoom out for a second here, because this isn't really just about making one office building more efficient. This is the blueprint for our future intelligent spaces.
The grand vision, the real endgame, is to make everything intelligent. Not just our buildings, but every single device and machine. All of them seamlessly connected, all of them constantly learning. It's a vision of a world that is always optimizing itself. And that leaves us with one last kind of provocative thought to chew on. For decades, our infrastructure has been silent, passive. Now, our buildings are starting to think. It just makes you wonder, what's going to wake up next?